僕がリオより強いと証明する。それが条件だと。
俺を従えたいならあんたこそが最強だと証を立ててくれ。
こいつ、僕とリオが本気で戦えば確実にどちらかが死ぬ。それができないと分かった上で。
All right, my friends, this episode we had the Most Notorious Talker. This was episode number 9. And by and large, I really think that this was a big setup episode for what's going to come next. So this episode basically had Noel signing up to become a clan officially and learning a few different things about becoming a clan, and actually getting declined for being a clan. So he met with an advisor, or an advisor came to seek him out, and the same advisor that was able to seek him out was the same advisor that would advise his grandfather, who was really good friends with Noel's grandfather, you know, Overdeath in the past. So he sees a lot of Overdeath, and maybe not like facial features, but kind of like the personality that he exudes and the overall just stature and confidence and basically all the things that Overdeath, you know, in a young age kind of exuded. He sees all of that in Noel. So he knows Noel's going to be really, really like in a really good spot once, because he has that mentality. He has that dog in him essentially. So he ended up declining him to become a clan, which is A-OK, but gave him an opportunity. He let him know about mana veins that are going to be exploding. He let them know about some of the monsters that have come. And basically the reason that Seekers basically exist is because of these monsters that are inhabiting the world, and they come in different waves and stuff, you know, kind of like through cracks in the sky. And that's kind of how Seekers keep employed. One of the really important things that Noel shared this episode was, you know, the reason that Seekers are so well regarded and high regarded is by defeating a lot of these really high level monsters. That's how they've been able to move the industry and move technology, is they use these what do they call them, like voids or lords or something from these other places, and they use their technology to kind of better themselves. He used an example of one of the really big ones that got defeated. They're using like their heart and presence to basically purify all the water in the city, which is a really, really cool use for, you know, basically a big boss monster that came to defeat and rampage the world. So he basically gave him a little nougat. So within 6 months, he wants to be a guild that gets chosen to go and defeat this big thing that ends up coming out in a year. Other than that, you know, he met some of the big names in the city. Basically lit a fire under some of them, and he kind of found some of their weaknesses, which I thought was pretty cool. And then Alma was able to train with some other team, and, you know, he's researching this other B-rank team and stuff. So he's basically going to cause some noise within the city to get his renown and fame even further, so he can kind of like, you know, further up his timeline as he tries to become an officiated guild. So that's really what the purpose of this episode was. Now, my big concern with this episode and a lot of episodes that are like this is the runtime for this specific anime this season, and we'll search it right now, the Most Notorious Talker. The big thing with these shows is right now, this one here is scheduled for 12 episodes. So if we look at 12 episodes up against the 9th episode we just watched, we have number 10, 11, and 12. We're going to get into a story that may or may not ever be completed. And what we're seeing, you know, is we have been seeing a renaissance of shows that I personally wouldn't think would ever get a season 2 or continuation, and they have been. So there is a high chance that this does see the light of day with a season 2. But let's say it doesn't. That means we're going to end on a note to where we're somewhere in the middle of an ongoing potential story that we may never see throughout fruition. So you have to take that as you know, a piece of when you're watching the show. It's like at the end of episode 12, did I just waste my time? And unfortunately, more often than not, the answer is kind of yes, unless the first 12 episodes were just really that good. And although I do think Notorious Talker has been quite a hidden gem this season, I don't think it's a hidden gem as far as, like, if you gave it a chance, I don't think you'll be fully disappointed. But it's not a hidden gem to where it's like, oh, wow, like, you're really missing out by not watching this. So that's kind of where it lands in that soft spot. I would put this episode about a 6 out of 10. And I'm tired of seeing Noel's little snake remnant that keeps coming out. I'm over the snake thing of him. But I am glad that they haven't given him the edgelord paintbrush in a couple of episodes. Like I was really glad that his edgelord moments were short lived, and he's pretty much been on this badass tyrant. So overall, episode is fine, watchable, 6.5 out of 10. All right, I'll see you guys next week. If you guys are in the States, have a good Thanksgiving. If you're not, have a good rest of your week. Don't work too hard. Don't study too hard. See you then. Peace out, my friends.